Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for new stories from Yellow Cat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. Let's get started. Why did you suddenly quit from a job? Part 3. I was ecstatic. Eventually, I was able to secure a position at a sizable software consulting firm that was willing to pay me more than I had anticipated. I can now finally bid adieu to my manager's politics and the horrible company I currently work for. I had to go to this consulting company's main office on my first day for some preliminary paperwork. A few presentations were made. The office was exquisite. They handed me a brand new laptop. I'm supposed to report to their client location the following day. I received a call from the manager of the consulting company asking if I could meet with a client in the middle of my day one formalities. There was something off. Why are they Russian? Nevertheless, I went to see them. I was required to meet the other members of the team I'll be working with by the client manager. I was informed that the client would supply a laptop and that I should not bring one, but I would be taking his laptop as I'm replacing a departing employee. I was also told that I have a ton of work that needs to be done and that I should do it as soon as possible. They're not thinking of a specific date. All they want is for it to be done. Might even happen this evening. I thought that was strange. I discovered that the power cable for the laptop I'm supposed to take over is missing. It was either lost or misplaced by someone. After a few days, I think it might be stolen. To charge my laptop, I had to periodically beg and borrow this power cable from different people. Anyhow, I began working at the client's location the following day. Many employees from my company have been involved in the client's projects. The majority of them were foreigners. Seems like these folks don't have anything else important to do in life. They used to arrive at work early in the morning and spend God knows how long there doing whatever. Everyone's grieving and in agony as they continue to stare intently into their monitors. Everyone's always whining about other people. I was assigned a small foreign team. I have never worked with a less professional group of people than these. They believed they would be assigned to this location for employment. Rather, they brought me on board. They were therefore very unhappy. They used to come to work without an explanation for one reason or another. Working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day is expected. Furthermore, nothing about the actual work is apparent. The platform and application are extremely erratic. The speculations are really unclear. I spent 2 weeks trying to blend in, and I gave up and went out. Even though there was a lot of time leading up to it, it was not quite completely on the spot. However, the final straw was when I was denied a promotion that I'd been requesting for more than half a year. My manager informed me that I wasn't getting it, and during the follow-up conversation with her, I asked what I needed to work on or what I needed to do to set myself apart from the others, given that the majority of them started after me or with me, and I was constantly one of the lab leaders. Nothing, you're doing great, just keep it up, maybe next fiscal year. This was in October, and the fiscal year is next June, was the response I received. My resignation was handed to her after I opened my folder and said, "Okay, thank you for your time, but I won't be here next year." This was 45 minutes into our one-on-one session that lasted 60 minutes. Felt absolutely incredible to drop that on her. I wasn't entirely certain that I was committed just yet, but her response really helped me to make up my mind. It didn't take long for that place to deteriorate after I left, and the rest of the team followed suit not long after that. In the end, they decided to bring back our previous team lead at a consulting rate, which was over $200 per hour, whereas we'd been ranging from $25 to $42 per hour before in order to fix everything that had gone wrong. Not me, but my partner. He was earning good money as a bus cleaner. Although he was a lazy man who put his son in charge, the company's owner wasn't all that bad. His son went completely bonkers. In essence, he was replacing those who refused to worship him when he fired the head mechanic and replaced him with someone who would kiss his A. All but 2 of their bus cleaners, my boyfriend and one of their drivers who decided he wanted to earn extra money on his days off, were let go by the guy who also fired the head cleaner. With a fleet of over 20 coach buses that are typically filthy from floor to ceiling, that means only 3 people are needed to clean them. Their schedules were created by the head cleaner, who always allotted himself 8-hour shifts before leaving for home, regardless of whether he had cleaned all of the buses he was responsible for. Boyfriend and the other cleaner would become stuck cleaning not just their group, but everything the head cleaner left behind, meaning they would have to put in 14 to 18 hours a day at work. Sadly, he wasn't motivated enough to give up then by this. After one holiday, Boyfriend discovers that his holiday pay has not been deducted from his paycheck. It's their policy for all full-time employees to receive holiday pay, but when he goes through his pay stubs, he discovers that he hasn't received any pay for paid holidays for the previous 6 months. He discusses this with the other cleaner and the head cleaner. While the head cleaner received holiday pay, the other cleaner did not receive it. Upon learning of this, the owner's son plays the biggest joke, claiming that despite being hired on as full-time employees, bus cleaners are actually garage workers and not employees. When the boyfriend inquires about the head cleaner's holiday pay, he's informed that since he's the manager of the company, he's paid full-time. Boyfriend was told he would now receive holiday pay, so he said fine, swallowed his pride, and left. My boyfriend and the head cleaner are the only ones left when the other cleaner decides to return to driving buses for the company. They struggle for a month without succeeding in cleaning the buses. Because he works too slowly to finish the job quickly enough, the head cleaner realizes they're screwed. Boyfriend works extremely hard and puts in a lot of overtime. Just 2 cleaners are called into the son's office by the end of the 5th week. They tell him that he should be fired for not doing a good enough job of cleaning and for wasting so much money on overtime, but they're giving him another chance because his father is one of their better mechanics. After saying F it, the boyfriend goes on to complain that they can't afford to hire more workers because they can't finish the cleaning job with just 2. Demonstrates how the head cleaner just dumps on this guy and won't work when the buses are returning from being cleaned. In a desperate attempt to be the real a-hole that he is, the owner's son tells my boyfriend that he needs a written resignation, even though he ends up quitting right then and there. Grabbing an out-of-tear pad of sticky notes and a pen, the boyfriend reaches across the guy's desk, wrote a large "I quit," slapped the sticky note on the table, and left. The business filed for bankruptcy at the end of the year. What horrible tale do you have about your neighbors or homeowners association? Part 3. My buddy naturally resides in a newly constructed subdivision with an HOA. Small driveways designed to accommodate 2 cars. If you're careful, you can fit 4 small ones. If there are too many cars in the driveway, nobody may park on the street. There are no other parking options. Everyone in the house was instructed by the landlord to park in the lot of the building directly across from the residence. Listed as a church, but it doesn't seem to be these days. There are hardly any signs pertaining to parking, towing, or anything else on this sizable gravel lot. I assumed it was safe since the landlord had told me so and everyone else in the house parks there. I park close to the entrance so that I'm out of traffic. It's past midnight and I'm exhausted. The following Saturday, I don't wake up until around noon, and when I go to leave, of course, my car is gone. Police don't really help. I need to make 4 separate calls to find out who has it, and since it's the weekend, I won't be able to get it back until Monday. Even though they won't let you pick it up, they get to charge daily storage, which is unfair in my opinion, but whatever. Unable to determine who had called to have it towed, there was a partially ruined note that was unreadable from the rain, but it appeared to say something along the lines of "no parking, we'll have to tow it." Take note that there are no parking signs anywhere in this location. Not at all. I looked everywhere. Who knows if that's true, but it's supposedly against Tennessee law to tow a car when nothing is posted. I won't be holding my breath, but the landlord was astonished and upset and promised to look into what went wrong. $200 was spent on me. Even though I don't live there, I went up there to apply for a job. Half of it back with my friend. So, even in the absence of posted signage, is it legal for them to tow a car? Really, I never would have parked there if I had given it even a fleeting thought that it wasn't acceptable. There's a lot there with a variety of cars that aren't parked in front of the largely empty building. There are construction workers' vehicles everywhere, and the subdivision is still under construction. I detest homeowners associations and would never, ever move into one. First, I would live in a tent. Since I haven't had a job in a few months, I had to take out a loan to return my car. When I called the church where the sign's located, I was told rudely that the landlord had placed it there, that they had left in March, and that I should never get in touch with them again. They probably received other inquiries regarding the location and parking. If that's the case, it would seem that they ought to be obliged to post signs regarding parking and towing. While we didn't exactly have a homeowners association, the a-holes that be made sure we had to mow the grass where we lived in a trailer park. There was no grass for us. We had an area of dirt on a cement block where there was no grass because the trees around it provided shade. Therefore, we had to thin out the few weeds on our patch of dirt. Well then, why didn't you just try to grow a lawn by seeding your lot? Because the park was renting both the lot and the trailer. That year, the roof began to leak and it nearly caught fire, but neither issue was resolved. It was a 1977 trailer. It was 2013. However, we mowed and raked our dirt because they asked us to. They later yelled at us because our yard was littered with the trash that the neighbor's raccoon had gotten into. You need to clean up after your trash. My ex told him to pound sand while pointing to a diaper on the lawn and the children's toys next door. They also attempted to humiliate us because a week prior to moving, we had about 6 or 7 bags of trash on the cement pad, which we called the porch. My ex asked if we could move the trash inside the trailer they were renting to us, indicating that he probably wanted it to stay in somewhat decent shape. The rubbish remained outside. We got our deposit back minus $45 for a patch of Studio 54 era brown shag carpet that was damaged and presumably could only be replaced by someone who knew a guy who was there when the EMTs found Janis Joplin and took a piece of the floor as a souvenir. I finally moved in with my girlfriend in the next state over after spending the majority of my life in a condo community in a non-HOA neighborhood. I've never gotten along with the HOA. They sued me once for unpaid dues that I was delaying because I was so unhappy with their performance, and I sued them once for neglecting to assist with water damage that they were supposed to. Both cases had out-of-court settlements. I moved, and it was the best decision ever. Due to its convenient locations near a major employment center, ease of commuting, and numerous upgrades over the years, the condo was listed and sold for significantly more than its asking price. Together, the realtor and I obtained all necessary resale documents and other documentation from the HOA, and everything appeared to be in order. The buyer only stipulated that they could not close until the middle of July. That was acceptable because they were paying a significant amount above the asking price. The lender halted the process a few days before the scheduled closing date, citing a need for additional information. They wished to confirm the exact number of community members who had been or are currently behind on their payments. We had no idea if this would be the final straw that broke the deal. Additionally, since the buyer was/is prepared to move, the timing couldn't have been worse. The requested paperwork was obtained after extensive outreach, as the HOA is set up in a way that makes it challenging to actually communicate with a human being who's aware of the situation. The incorrect paperwork was then discovered to have been sent after the initial closing date had passed. The new closing date of today was supposed to happen today, but it didn't work out. The realtor has never witnessed a lender act in such a way or an HOA with such incompetence, and both the buyer and I are in a state of uncertainty. The buyer's original closing date and moving schedule have passed by almost a week, and we still don't know if this mess will completely destroy the deal. While the current lender is attempting to contact the individual and obtain the necessary documentation to authorize the closing, the realtor is investigating other lenders. I plan to file a lawsuit against the HOA if this transaction collapses due to the HOA's lack of organization, or if the lender determines that the amount of past due and unpaid dues is excessive. Update. And I did precisely that. Deal collapsed and I was peed off. I collected all the supporting documentation, including emails, conversations, evidence that the incorrect paperwork was sent, and the lender's records outlining the reasons for the delay and subsequent consequences. I sued the HOA for their egregious incompetence and the monetary losses brought about by their carelessness. The legal dispute was heated. The HOA attempted to shift the burden of proof, but my proof held up. The judge rejected their justifications and acknowledged the HOA's history of carelessness and incompetence. The case was straightforward. My condo sale fell through as a direct result of their tardiness in submitting the necessary paperwork. The HOA's actions caused me to suffer both financial losses and emotional distress, but the court decided in my favor and gave me a sizable compensation. The judge also mandated an audit of the HOA's financial and operational procedures, which turned up even more incompetence and poor management. The board was reconstructed with new qualified members after the findings were so D-ing. The best choice I've ever made was to move with my girlfriend to a non-HOA neighborhood. I can now at last put this nightmare behind me and live a life free from the harassment and incompetence of a dishonest HOA. If you want to watch the part 2, click the link here. We're very, very glad to see you all in the comments. Many, many thanks for your support.